The Dallas Cowboys secondary is already walking a tightrope. The last thing this team can afford is losing potential playmakers. Yet here we are. A fan favorite from training camp and preseason, Zion Childress, is gone. The Houston Texans have signed him off Dallas's practice squad, and honestly, it stings. This isn't just another transaction on the wire. It feels like the Cowboys let a promising young defensive back slip away. And for what? To bring in other players who were recently cut elsewhere, names like Reggie Stewart and Tre'Quez Bridges, while letting a homegrown, energetic talent walk out the door. If this is part of defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus's plan, then that plan needs to show results, fast. Because right now, decisions like these are raising serious questions about whether this defense can reach the level Cowboys fans expect. Losing Zion Childress shouldn't just be shrugged off. It's a warning sign that every move matters, especially for a team with championship ambitions. Decisions like these have consequences. Because of outside signings, the Cowboys lost defensive back Israel Mukumu in free agency, a player they might have kept if roster spots and money hadn't gone to newcomers who have yet to prove their worth. Reggie Stewart flashed a little promise in his debut, but even he's had blown coverages and lapses you can't afford in a secondary already under pressure. And honestly, as shaky as he's been, Stewart might still be one of the steadier corners on the field right now. That says everything about where this unit stands. It's frustrating because we never got to see Zion Childress get meaningful snaps in this defense, exactly when the secondary is at its weakest. Trayvon Diggs is gutting it out despite not being 100%. Darren Bland can't stay healthy. The injury report is full, and former first-rounder Kaiir Elam has looked completely out of sync in zone coverage, often unsure of his assignment. For a defense built on discipline and precision, that's a nightmare. Cowboys fans expect excellence on this side of the ball. Instead, we're watching a patchwork secondary struggle to hold the line, and the choices made in the front office are a big reason why. There were so many chances for the Cowboys to give Zion Childress meaningful snaps. He shined throughout training camp, held his own in both man and zone coverage during the preseason, and showed the kind of versatility coaches dream about. Yet Dallas never gave him that shot. The Houston Texans didn't miss what was obvious to anyone paying close attention. Childress is a hard-nosed player with a rare football IQ. He's played quarterback, offense, and multiple defensive back positions, giving him an instinctive understanding of schemes and where everyone should be on the field. You could see that intelligence in every rep, and you could feel the physicality he brought with it. That's exactly the kind of mentality DeMeco Ryans and his staff in Houston value. It stings even more that Houston came straight to Dallas to poach him. Out of every team in the league, it's the Cowboys they target for this move. And now, there's a good chance Cowboys fans will be hearing Zion Childress's name all season long, only it'll be in highlights for someone else's defense. As much as we wish him success, losing a talent like that when the secondary is already thin is a gut punch. What makes this even harder to swallow is how stagnant the secondary feels right now. Too many of these players are acting as progress stoppers rather than cornerstones. Take Trayvon Diggs. In 2022 he was electric, but since then his play has trended downward. He's battling through injuries, but the dominance we once saw just isn't there. Darren Bland is talented but can't stay healthy, and he's best suited against certain types of receivers. Expecting him to match up consistently with physical stars like A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf is asking for trouble. And don't even get started on the safety group. Right now it feels like the Cowboys are holding on to veterans without a clear plan for the future. Players like Donovan Wilson have leadership roles locked in, yet haven't delivered consistent, difference-making production. Why keep investing in guys who aren't moving the defense forward? This unit needs a shake-up, a sense of accountability, and a new injection of hungry talent, because sticking with the same old formula clearly isn't working. Even casual fans can see it. Blown coverages all over the field. Donovan Wilson is missing assignments. Kaiir Elam is missing assignments. Even Malik Hooker has had his lapses. No one in this secondary has earned the right to be untouchable. So why not protect your own assets? Why not give a player like Zion Childress a real chance by signing him to the 53-man roster before another team swoops in? Moves like bringing in Tre'Quez Bridges and Reggie Stewart still sting because they were handed opportunities without truly competing, while guys who had been grinding in camp were left waiting. The Cowboys talk about competition constantly, but in this case it felt like there was a double standard. Childress and other young defenders proved themselves through the off-season yet were passed over for outsiders. Now, one of those homegrown players with rare instincts and a high football IQ is gone, and he might end up becoming exactly the kind of difference-maker this defense is desperate for. Zion Childress may not test like an elite athlete, but the way he plays more than makes up for it. He's physical. He sacrifices his body. He actually tackles, not just flashes at the ball carrier but brings guys down, especially impressive at his size. And on top of that, he owns a superior football IQ. That's something this defense is missing. Childress already shows a better grasp of concepts and responsibilities than some current starters. Based on his pedigree and his performance in camp and preseason, you can tell he knows exactly what he's doing, whether it's dropping into coverage or crashing down to make a stop. He wouldn't be a liability, he'd be an asset. Think back to those defensive back blitzes the Cowboys sent Trayvon Diggs and Darren Bland on against Jalen Hurts in Week 1. Who's the type of player who would actually finish that tackle? Zion Childress. This isn't overhyping a practice squad guy. This is pointing out a glaring need, a battered secondary that could use someone with instincts, toughness, and accountability right now. The Cowboys' secondary is battered and thin. Outside of Darren Bland when he's healthy, there isn't much stability back there. That's why losing Zion Childress hurts so much. He's the kind of player who could develop into a legitimate starting NFL safety, and now he's probably going to get that chance with the Houston Texans. Don't be surprised if he thrives. Childress has flashes of an old-school, rangy safety, not saying he's Earl Thomas, but you can see glimpses of that instinctive, sideline-to-sideline style. Houston clearly saw it too. They needed someone after parting ways with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Childress fits what they're building. Meanwhile, Dallas is left with a defense that's underperforming outside a few bright spots up front. If the locker room needs a spark, even a disruptive one, maybe it's time to bring in a player who isn't afraid to call things out and demand accountability. Sometimes a shakeup is exactly what a unit like this needs to wake up and reach its potential. This defense feels like it's suffering from a slow bleed. Week after week the mistakes pile up, but nothing changes. Maybe what the Cowboys need right now is a jolt, someone who's willing to be volatile, point fingers, and demand accountability. Because the nice guy approach clearly hasn't worked. The secondary in particular looks like it needs a complete facelift. If a player can come in and offer even a spark more than what's currently on the field, why not take the chance? Yes, someone like C.J. Gardner-Johnson carries baggage and has worn out his welcome in places before. The risk of it not working is high. But what if that same fire and attitude is exactly what this group needs? What if holding people publicly accountable is the only way to wake up a unit that's been underperforming for too long? Sometimes you have to stop patching holes and start making bold moves. The Cowboys' secondary is at that point. Playing it safe hasn't delivered results. Maybe it's time to try something different. I'm at the point where I don't care about preserving chemistry if it means watching this defense keep collapsing. If someone on the market is clearly better than what we've been trotting out, bring him in. Let him earn his spot or show he can't, but give the team a real shot at fixing what's broken. You can't keep surrendering 30 to 40 points and call it patience. The offense has leaders who can carry themselves. Dak Prescott, Tyler Smith, and others will keep that side steady. The defense? Tear it down if you have to. Stop papering over problems. Yes, a player like C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes with baggage and the odds might be against it working out in Dallas. He may prefer Philadelphia anyway. But losing Zion Childress for nothing, that still stings. If the price to add a hot-headed veteran is losing a young talent with real upside, don't make that trade lightly. Protect your prospects. This one's on the front office and the coaches. Letting guys cut elsewhere walk right into opportunities here without forcing real competition was a mistake. You build depth by rewarding effort and performance, not by handing spots to outsiders while kids who earned it sit on the practice squad. Best of luck to Zion in Houston. But for the Cowboys? It's time to stop accepting incremental failure. Make bold moves, hold people accountable, and stop treating the secondary like an afterthought.